What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents a podcast where I discuss all things music. And today on my show, I have the gentlemen from Pathogen and DeadVectors. And man, we talk about, what their scene is like in Pennsylvania, because they're from Bucks County, Pennsylvania, man. Shout out to those guys. And, we get to talk about, their sound, how they're doing during the, unfortunate things going on in the world currently. And as well as we get to talk about some new music that they're working on and just what they do, man. And it's a really awesome conversation. And unfortunately, their drummer wasn't able to join us because he's a bit under the weather. But shout out to Mark, man. And if you're really looking for some new music that's just a little bit different, man, check out Pathogens, check out DeadVectors, man. Really, really cool stuff. But before we get started with the show, man, if you have a show idea or you have, you want to be a guest on my show, check me out on Facebook and Instagram at Blue Presents a Podcast, or follow me on Twitter at Podcast of Blue. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this show. Thank you, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents a podcast where I discuss all things music and how it affects my life. And today, I'm joined by Ken, Connor, and Christian of Pathogen. How you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Very well. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. Unfortunately, Mark isn't available to us right now because he's under the weather. So shout out to Mark. Much love, man. Maybe next time. So as I start my show with everyone, what are your top 5 artists? Let's start with Christian first.
All right. Right now, it's funny. I've actually been listening to a lot of Sever the King, a lot of DeadVectors, which is kind of funny. We are DeadVectors. A lot of Animals as leaders. A lot of I'd say Invent Animate, Silent Planet, and you got to go with August Burns Red. They're the staple for me.
Okay. Connor, go ahead, man.
Recently, I don't know if you know about that new band Darko, but they've been like on my feed. Yeah, they're ridiculous. It's the dude from Amir, like the drummer from Amir, and then Tom Barber from like Lorna Shore.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
nuts.
So you know what I'm talking about. I'm assuming some type of extreme black metal deathcore.
Dude, it's so nasty. So that a lot of Chan, a lot of Reflections, and then Invent Animate because of their new album that dropped in like March. I'm still listening to it. It's so good. Mm-hmm. And then I'm looking at my Spotify so I can come up with something quicker. Mm-hmm. And Volumes. I love Volumes.
Of course. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Ken, hit me with it, man.
I don't know. Mine's like a wild card just because like I listen to a lot of music besides metal.
Okay.
But like just some go-tos that I've always had would be like Cabal and Alpha Wolf. Those are like 2 of my favorites. Mm-hmm. I've also been getting into my boys Divisive recently. Those guys are absolutely insane and everyone should check them out. They're coming out with an album really soon and they sent me a little sneaky peek and I'm excited. This shit is wild. But recently I've been listening to like a lot of like lo-fi beats. Okay. So just like really chill music to like listen like to like when you study and stuff like that.
Hey man, groove music.
I don't know.
Groove music.
Dude,
Kenny and I were hanging out yesterday and we were listening to lo-fi beats in the car and it was so chill, dude.
It's so relaxing and it's just so nice to just calm down from the deathcore a little bit.
Yeah.
No, man, that's cool, man. Because I mean, we're artists, man, and if we don't enjoy other aspects of music, even if it is something like lo-fi beats, which the type of music you guys do, no, I wouldn't expect someone would think that you would listen to that. So it's a cool. It gives you a different perspective, and you kind of get that. That you're just more than just listening to that, because don't get me wrong, I love heavy and aggressive music, but I grew up in an R&B gospel hip hop home, you know what I'm saying, where that was prevalent. So some people are like, yeah, you're into metalcore, you're into deathcore, you're into this, but don't realize, there's actual like gospel singers I listen to, or R&B from like the 50s and 60s, that a lot of people don't give enough credence to, because they're just, some people are so one-sided and can't see the other side of the music. Is just relative. It's so many good things in so many different areas, even pop music or country music. There's different artists that really think. Sorry, I just kind of went off on a tangent.
No, dude, I couldn't agree more. To be honest, I think metal is probably the thing I listen to the least. I absolutely love it more than anything, but I just find myself relaxing and chilling out to other things. Like I listen to like a lot of like the lo-fi beats and like EDM and stuff like that, and a shit ton of like indie music. I love indie, can't get enough of it. But like, that's where I'm at musically.
No, and that's, like I said, that's a cool, like, perspective, because a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people just, I only listen to this, or, and then you get those one people who, I'll listen to anything, and then you put on something that probably not what they would listen to, and they're just like, what is this? And it's just like, I thought you listened to anything, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, I feel.
Where's the respect?
Exactly. Not on my name. So my next question for you guys is, how did Pathogen start? And then I guess you can talk about DeadVectors as well too, kind of like together. But how did Pathogen start? Because it seems like that kind of started first, and then DeadVectors kind of seems a little bit on the newer side now. And some of the stuff I've heard on both aspects are extreme. But Pathogens, you guys have more of a melodic feel that's completely different. So how did that start for you guys?
Pathogen was probably, let's say 2015, 2016. It was just Connor and I being little fetuses, just like writing things into Guitar Pro. And all that material was so bad. We've probably been through like 50 songs before we changed to Pathogen. We threw out enough songs to make the album what it is today. We've got some more music coming out. We got a lot of stuff in the works. So a lot of the songs are, 6 months old. A lot of the songs are, 2-3 years old. They've just been refined over and over. We've been at it for a while for Pathogen.
Oh yeah. We had a lineup change like with our vocalist as well, which like really shifted our music because our old vocalist just like wasn't up to par with what we wanted to do. Like he just wasn't keeping up. But then when we got Kenny in, Kenny just made our songs sound like that much better, so that it made us relook at some of those songs and be like, all right, we have Kenny's vocals now. Like, should we change anything about this? And like, while we were in the studio, we made like minor changes, but like in the end, man, it's all going to like pay off because we have like a 10-song concept album coming out, and like we're still working on vocals because vocals were like the last thing that we're adding to this thing. It just took a while, but yeah, Christian's right. Like a lot of the songs are a couple years old, but yeah, we just refined them a lot.
All right. Well, with that talking, Ken, how was it to join the band after they had, got rid of their vocalist? How was that transition and coming into this band?
Well, it was actually pretty awesome because that's also like where DeadVectors had started. So before I did either of them, I was looking for a band for about 5 years.
Okay.
Because I had the band in high school, and we were doing pretty good. We were like just generic metalcore. It was whatever. But I just loved jamming and making music and having fun with my friends. So for 5 years or so, I've been trying to like make something, and like it just always fell through. People just were not, committed to a band. So I actually hit up Aaron to start up DeadVectors because I just wanted to make music, and I didn't care if it was a real band or not. But as soon as I went in and Aaron had heard me, he knew what the situation was with Pathogen and literally hit up Pathogen right away and said, you guys have to get Kenny. So like knowing all of that kind of just happened just because I was there and like showing my commitment to music. It was an incredible feeling.
Wow.
So,
that's kind of cool, man. Yeah. You guys kind of came together and connected and whatnot. So you kind of touched into something, but I'm going to ask this question first and then we're going to jump into that. So the sound, and I have to talk about this because what drew me in, and like I said to you guys before we started talking, I found you guys on a Spotify playlist that just kind of came up, and Pathogen song, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Disassociate, which is the song that came up. Dissociate. I apologize. And as soon as I heard it, just oh my god, just heavy. I was about to say heavy, brutal. And then you guys have the nerve to be melodic as hell, okay? Like, just what the hell? You know what I'm saying? And that's what kind of like, I have a job that allows me to listen to music on a daily basis. So like I said, I'll put on a Spotify playlist and whatever comes up is whatever I'm listening to. And like I said, when I heard this, I was like, yo, I don't know what this is, but I need more of it. Where does the sound come from? And I'm going to go with Christian and Connor on this because, it sounds like you guys kind of started this together. What are the influences that you both agreed needed to be a part of this? Because there's so much here, man, in some aspects, and not just the song I was just speaking of, but like, if Pathmaker, just, oh my God, like so many melodic tones, heavy, just, oh my God, like where does the influence for you both, like you both agreed, yo, this is the sound that we need?
It just
dude, like, yeah, you go first, Christian.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess honestly, it usually just starts with a whole bunch of mumbo jumbos of riffs, like a lot of Invent Animate-ish stuff. I mean, it's really hard to pinpoint it. And then in a song, there's always something you want to hear, and then it ends, and you're pissed that it's over. And what we try to do is the part that comes next, it's never a part that you want to skip. It's just the next thing that you want to hear. If you want to hear it get heavy, it's going to get fucking heavy. If you want to hear it get melodic, like it's going to be a big fucking section with a lot of layers. We never do verse, chorus, repeat, verse, chorus, repeat. It's all about hearing what you want to hear next. It's really hard to pinpoint on a band.
Yeah, there's like a lot of influences that like come into play, and it's very situational because Christian and I have been writing and sending back music back and forth for the last like 5 years. Yeah. So it's really hard to say like what our strategy is, because every single time we go for a new song, we just start from scratch. Like whether it be me or Christian, we'll come up with like a riff. And then we just keep adding on to that song. And like, we'll add repetition because, like songs need repetition, but we don't do it by copy and paste. Like I'll usually maybe like repeat a lead, or I'll repeat a riff with a different lead and a different drum part. So that way, when you hear it again, it's not the same thing you heard. It's like, oh, I remember that, but it's a little bit different. And I noticed that in a lot of like jazz and a lot of like music that surrounds that kind of category. I love that shit. So we wanted to incorporate it. And I feel like a lot of the metal music, like Christian said, is very boring. It's very verse, chorus, and like repeating the drums and shit like that. Like we don't want to do that. We want the whole song to be different from start to finish.
No, and I think that's like, it's very present in what you do. Time signatures and transitions, man, it doesn't seem like it should transition the way that it does, but you guys do it in such a way that is natural. And to be honest with you, and this is going to sound kind of weird when I say this analogy, but it almost reminds me of like when you hear a Korn song, you hear Fieldley's bass and you're just like, I know that's a Korn song. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of the same thing with you guys. I know it's a Pathogen song because the transitions are different. They don't technically would make sense, but they flow so seamlessly together, almost like they're linear transition wise when they probably shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Most bands.
He's very Christian for all that, dude. He's like the master for all that.
I was going to give that to Mark. Mark can turn, you can go from 7/4 into, I don't know, into a bar of 11 and nothing could line up and it could sound choppy, and you give it to Mark and it just like smooths over when he's done with it. He's so good at it.
Yeah, and your aggressive sound to your melodic sound is just amazing. Now, this next question I have for Ken, because Ken, as a vocalist, you have to keep up with that.
It's a lot.
You have no idea how difficult it was to actually get in like the music and like understand what the heck was actually happening. Because when I joined, I was given a MIDI file of 10 songs. It was just beeps and boops and just computers puking in my ears, and like trying to understand what was actually happening without like having like the actual instruments being played. I really felt like it was going to be an unbelievable challenge. But as soon as everything got recorded, I felt like so much more of the vibe that they were thinking when they wrote it. Just because you can only hear so much like from like a tab. But
yeah, Guitar Pro sucks for like showing your music.
No,
but
I think you do well. I think you do well with it.
I appreciate it.
I'd been jamming the tabs and the MIDI files, and I fell in love with it. And then as soon as I heard everything come to life when we recorded the drums and then we did the guitars and then all the production on top of it. It all came to life, and it was pretty goddamn incredible. But I also want to add, I don't think these guys give themselves enough credit, because literally they have like the most dedication I'd ever seen into actually writing a song. Mm-hmm. If there's like one thing that isn't absolutely perfect, they will work on it nonstop until they might even change like half the entire song. Like, I know they've shown me files of our music, mm-hmm. A bunch of it, that's the stuff that hasn't been released yet. They've mm-hmm. shown me like old versions of it that they were going to be solidified on, but decided to try and make it better. And then out of nowhere, it blossomed into what it is today. It's amazing, like what they can do to a song.
No, I think that's cool, man. And Ken, just to give you some credit, man, you definitely know where your vocal placement is, and you also let the riffs ride as well too when there needs to be a part, because the music, I think the vocals and the music go hand in hand. But when you're talking about such technical music you guys are putting together, like I said, you guys are all over the place, but in a way that just kind of it's almost like a crazy genius. There you go. Almost like you're just, a crazy savant just puts it all together, and it just comes together like, it's like one of those things, like, and I always make food references because if you can't tell, I love food. But it's just like putting ingredients together that normally don't go together, and somehow someone's like, wow, this is actually really good. This is good. Yeah. It shouldn't taste good, but it tastes good. You know what I'm saying? So that's cool. So real quick, because you kind of touched on it before when you were talking about you were looking for a band for about 5 years. What is the scene like in Bucks County, Pennsylvania? Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
The music scene, I actually don't know about. I haven't been to a show. I've only been to one show, and it was Connor's show when he was playing for Rat God earlier this year. That was the only show I'd been to in like the last 3 or 4 years. So I'm really unaware of what's going on in terms of the music scene here.
Yeah, I could say the same. Like, I don't really know like exactly what it is, but I know that in Philly, dude, it's like all about hardcore. So I see a lot of hardcore bands, and dude, some of them are great. Like, Burials is sick. Like, I'll listen to Burials, and then like whatever else comes up. I can't really name that many, but when I go to a show, it's fun. The passion's there, and it's like great. But I just don't hear anybody doing anything different.
Okay,
it just seems to be like, oh, if I can make a couple chords with my guitar, let's make a band.
Yeah,
and then it's just like a solid like 6 out of 10, and I'm just like, all right, you're cool, and they don't last.
If it's heavy, then it's ready.
It's heavy, then it's ready. Exactly. But yeah.
What about you?
So yeah, this seems like fail in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I mean, I played a little bit in Stargazer with Connor, so that was cool. Those are some good shows. But I used to play in a metalcore band that was just like everybody else, called The Second Phase, back in high school. Toured around a little bit. That was around the same time Kenny was in Far From Home.
Okay.
Yeah. We played a lot of shows together in those bands, and
I remember those days. Those were good.
My vocalist. He stole my vocalist and my bassist. But
that's fine.
Yeah, it's a really supportive scene down here.
Okay.
It's like Connor said, it's a lot of like hardcore, like a lot of metalcore. You don't really hear anything technical or weird come up like this.
No, for real.
Well, besides that band, Sentinels, dude.
Yeah.
Sentinels
are ridiculous.
Oh, from Jersey, those guys.
Dude, I love those guys.
One of the greatest bands ever. I love them so much.
No, they're just, the music is so great, and when you've got someone like Aaron working on stuff, and since we're there, let's talk about your guys' relationship with Aaron, because to be honest with you, once again, and I've had Aaron on my show before. What you guys do is amazing, and then I'm just imagining Aaron comes in and just, it's even that much more to another level. Talk about that relationship and working with someone like Aaron.
Dude, he's the man. He's just the man.
He's a wizard. He's the Mick Monkey.
Exactly.
Yeah, Mick Monkey.
The man will tell you to play one note. You'll play a G. You give him 35 seconds, and he has some crazy ominous noise going over your tongue pad. It's like, he's a wizard.
It's just different, like you've never heard it before.
No, you're right.
So wild.
Man, Aaron's literally like the greatest producer I think ever. I mean, I've worked with a bunch of producers before, and I won't say their names or whatever, but
they know who they are.
Yeah, they know.
I can say the same. I've worked with a couple.
They're looking at us now. They're sorry.
They're mad. Yeah.
But you saw my appreciation post I made about Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I was blown away by the fact that like someone cared about, like, a producer would care about someone's music so much and stuff like that. Like, working with Aaron is literally like it's the absolute shit. He is the coolest dude ever, and he's probably one of my greatest friends now, to be honest.
Yeah, man. He like I said, I said it on that episode. He's the example I go to when you talk about working with a producer who actually gives a shit about what you're doing, what your sound is, and making it so, you know, even better. It's just like it was good before, and now it just got taken to a whole nother level, whether it's tones, whether it's ambiance that he adds to every song that just kind of sets it apart and, you know, makes his own sound, you know. I think he does, I believe he does an extremely great job at what he does. And it shows because every band obviously doesn't sound the same. But every band kind of, he gives his all into what he's doing. So that when talking about that, let's talk about your new single, Pathmaker, which, you know, dropped a month ago, man. And it is an absolute beast of a song, man. I'll have to say, like I said, I've heard your other songs before, but when I heard this one, I was like, damn, yo, that right there, that's that jam right there.
No. We feel the same way. Like, seriously, it's like the best song on the album. It's got to be.
Mm-hmm. I think it's one of my favorites.
It does really well. All the instruments are like done well. Everything just like fits perfectly.
Yeah.
And like, you don't know this yet, but it's like a motif. There's like a motif in the song, and it repeats in like another song later. And it's supposed to have that effect, like, oh my God. So when you hear it, you're gonna like the song even more. I guarantee.
No, it's really awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Christian. Sorry.
You actually brought up earlier, and I'm really glad you said it, something about how ballsy it was to go from Dissociate to Pathmaker.
Mm-hmm.
And Pathmaker was originally supposed to start the album.
Mm-hmm.
Pathmaker was, it was supposed to be like that center song for a while. That was supposed to be the first single. And then when we kind of decided to release Dissociate, I was nervous, at least, going from something. Our next song we want to release is going to be even more melodic.
Mm-hmm.
So I was terrified of the fact we were going to go from complete chaos, and anyone we attracted that chaos would hear Pathmaker and be like, what is this structured bullshit? Like, I want more random noises.
Yeah.
And when Pathmaker got all the good, feedback that it did, I was like really confident that, our singles are going to show a nice array of the album, and it's going to be very well-rounded when it comes out. So a lot of heavy, a lot of melodic, a lot of weirdness.
I said there's more heavy and weirdness than melodic, but like the melodic fits with the heavy too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. And Ken, can you talk a little bit about some of the lyrics in the song, man, and what your, what do you focus more when you're writing? Is it more abstract? Are you talking about particular things? Because I was trying to find lyrics for some of the songs and stuff like that, and unfortunately I couldn't find anything too. So I just kind of want to ask, what are some of, what is a song like Pathmaker about?
Pathmaker was actually written initially as like a song about just finding your way in life, just like the whole journey of just kind of being lost and looking for your way and finding your place in life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially the whole thing. There's like little bits and pieces that I wrote about myself.
Okay.
That pertains to like me being a photographer and like the fact that I want to do photography for a living as well. So like the very beginning, I can see the light, or I can feel the wind, I see the light. Like all that is like about photography. So that's a fun little fact. But the song itself is about finding your way in life and just kind of like everyone's trying to like do something, but they're all like, I don't know, going off the wrong path. You have to find your own way instead of go with the pack.
Yeah,
that's kind of the whole spiel.
Yeah, man, and to be honest with you, talk about lyrics like that being so prevalent right now, especially with everything that's going on and how people are handling what's going on in the world on many different fronts. You know, everybody has their own opinions on what they think people should be doing right now or how they should be handling it. And no one can kind of tell you what you need to do or how you need to handle it. Everybody is on their own, if you will, unique journey. So that's kind of like the you know, you explaining those lyrics and stuff like that. And yeah, man, that's dope. You know, photography, you know, like I just had Ian Urquhart on my show, which is a dude out of Rhode Island or out of New Hampshire, Massachusetts area. And he just kind of was explaining, you know, how he got started in that stuff, man. And it seems like a lot of work, you know, so that's cool that, you know, you're not just limiting yourself just to music. You're also, you know, a little bit more deeper than that when it comes to photography and stuff.
Yeah. My parents, we have our own photography studio. Like, it's a whole separate building on our property.
Wow.
And they've been photographers for roughly 30 years, and they've won like awards for being like rated like the best like photographers in the Philadelphia region and stuff like that.
Okay.
So like I've had like these awesome mentors to teach me everything that I know about photography, but I also applied it to like videography and stuff like that. So I have always been making videos ever since I was literally like, I think, like 6 or 7 years old. That's when I first started like just making videos for fun. But now I'm trying to do it more professionally, and you'll see in the very near future, we actually recorded several videos for Pathogen in our studio, and they're like kind of like guitar playthroughs and stuff like that. So you'll see a lot of my work in photography and videography, as well as doing music.
I was going to say, are you guys planning on like doing some music videos, giving that a try?
We want to, but it's very difficult considering that I'd be the one shooting it and I'd have to also be in the video as well. So we tried. We did a test shoot, and it didn't work out as well as we had wanted. It was kind of confusing on what we were going for. But we would absolutely love to do some sort of music video, and we're kind of in the search for someone that's like good and also at a decent price.
Yeah, man. Then that's kind of hard to do. Offline, I've got a couple people you might want to check out. I can kind of give you some. One of them is actually like super, super talented and travels quite a bit. But also in talking about that, you know, because once again, you guys are, you know, you're working with Aaron on, I'm assuming you guys are working with Aaron with this whole record situation. So, you know, do you guys feel like Aaron is giving you guys the input and sound that you guys are really looking for when it comes to that? Because I do feel like, you know, Pathmaker kind of just set out like a more, I would kind of say polished, but I don't mean it like in a bad way. I just mean it sounds well produced, well put together. Everything sounds like it flows very well. And just talk about how he's helping you guys out with this new record, or this record you guys are putting together.
Yeah, dude, he makes us sound so good. We're good. I think we're all good. I just mean like he makes the mix sound good. He makes it sound good in here.
Yes.
You know, because like that's how we're going to market our music to our audience, is through having really great production. But then when we go and actually play shows, we have the talent to like back it up, you know? So he just makes us sound like fantastic. Like he just knows what to do.
Yeah, after recording all the instrumentals, we had several months where we just went back and forth on the actual mix that we were looking for. And we have so many different like guitar tones that just ended up getting scrapped. So Aaron's very patient as well in terms of like helping bands find the exact sound that they want. So that's
he's a very patient man. He has to deal with us, dude.
Yeah, we definitely give him more jobs than he needs. But he's great to work with. He, you tell him what you want, and he'll do it +1. Like, it turns out exactly what you want to hear it.
Yeah. Yep. No, and once again, like I said, it just speaks to what Aaron does and how Aaron's process works, and making sure that he gives you the best sound possible. So, in talking with, we're talking about Pathogen. Let's move over to DeadVectors, because it's pretty much the same band, you know, just a little bit different, a lot more aggressive, and a lot more in your face. Ken, talk about you starting DeadVectors and what you were going for sound wise, because everybody's hearing, and whoever's listening to this podcast right now, you hear how Ken sounds so soft and so very monotone, but when you hear this man's vocals, it is like a demon awaken on the inside of you. Talk about what you were going for with DeadVectors.
I didn't really have anything particularly in mind for DeadVectors. When I first started it, I found Aaron on Instagram as a ghostwriter, and I just wanted to be in music. So I went to his page, found a few songs that I liked of his, which were labeled as Thal and Insanity Core. Those were like the two main songs that I liked. And we made a little deal, and he threw it together, and that became the Anti-Nova. And then from there, like, I kind of felt how lenient he was in terms of like ideas that I had after he had created the song and whatnot. And then I basically, from that point on, would, every time we went to go write a new song, I would create an entire full 1-page document, what I want the song to be like.
Wow.
And like the vibe, the kind of pace, the feeling that you get from it, like what it's going to be about. So like he can understand like what kind of riffs that he was supposed to write. So after writing the Anti-Nova, which was mainly just Aaron doing his thing, I threw a page together and came up with Grim Reminders. So that was song number 2, and we kind of blew that one out of the park. And one by one, we just kind of went through, and I was purposefully kind of like going for different vibes for each song, different kind of genres almost. Like there's like kind of like beatdown and like deathcore in one, and then you have slam and gent in another song. So like I was just trying to make it sound different and interesting so that when you listen through the whole EP, it doesn't get repetitive.
No, yeah, it doesn't sound like that at all. And that's amazing because, you know, it sounded like you were just kind of displaying what ability you had, and you could do it in different styles, because so many people, and I don't know, I'm a weirdo like that. I don't write music at all, but when I do think about what I enjoy, I would love to put like an EP like that together, but mine would be way more abstract because I'm a real big fan of pop punk, and I would love to put out a pop punk song. Well, it would be so dope. But I'd also like to do like a knock loose Varial style song where it's just heavy, punches you in the face. But then I also want like that 2010s electronic metalcore. So like mine is just like this weird buffet. Yeah. So I feel you, Ken, man. You definitely knocked it out of the park. And you do, like, vocally, man, you are just an absolute fucking beast, man.
He is a beast. He's an animal.
No. Yeah. It is really, really good. So how did you guys, Connor and Christian, how did you guys get into DeadVectors, and how did you guys add your own kind of deal to DeadVectors? Because the new song you guys got out, The Hive, which came back out in January, if I'm not mistaken, is absolutely amazing. And like I said, unlike Pathogen, very aggressive, very like, we're about to give you everything you asked for and a punch to the face.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing with DeadVectors is that, like Kenny said, when he was just starting, that's when Pathogen was actually in the studio for like drum recording. So like Christian and I have known about it for a little while, but like we didn't like think about being a part of DeadVectors until The Distraught Mind came out, because when The Distraught Mind came out, he was gaining a lot of traction. And then like on top of that, we were already thinking about being a part of it, because like when you get traction, you're going to want to play shows. You're going to want to make a music video. You have to have like, like a, what's it called? Like an image. You need to have like a band image. And like, yeah, Kenny can be like the band image, like that one guy, but eventually people are going to want to hop on. Okay. So Christian and I wanted to hop on that first because I love DeadVectors, especially with The Hive, because I actually got to do a lot of hands-on with that song in specific. Because I remember when we were like first writing it, I sent Aaron like a file, and he like just changed it up a little bit. So he used the same like weird lead that you hear in the beginning. So like I wrote that, and then he wrote like everything else, but like used some of the same ideas that I had in that song. And then when we went back to record vocals, we just like changed rhythms around. So I didn't really do much for that song. But after that song, when that gained a lot of traction, we were like, all right, so Kenny and I started writing some music. So now that Kenny and I have started writing some music, now it feels like we're all a part of Dead Vectors.
Yeah.
Like we've all done something for it. Because it was just Kenny for like the longest time.
Yeah, Dead Vectors entirely was just unexpected, in my opinion. I literally just did it because I wanted to, because I've been practicing vocals for like, I don't know, like a decade, and like I just wanted to be in something. So I just kind of gave it my all for the EP, and then out of nowhere, it got so much traction that, you know, I had so many, you have no idea, I had so many messages about people asking if I'm coming to their city to play a show, if I have merch, if I've got this, if there's more music coming. It was like overwhelming.
Yeah, capitalizing on all that. Like everyone's kind of like, you know, that's cool, man, because it just kind of shows that like you as a vocalist was so strong. People felt the way that they feel about you, man. And it sounds like in listening to what you were talking about, you know, Pathmakers about, it sounds like you probably write some stuff that people can relate to and people can, you know, really jump on. And I think that's the mark of success for a band, man, is not only just, all right, you guys write nasty, tasty riffs. That's awesome and all. But, you know, really when you talk about faces of a band, you need somebody who has that range, who can carry and just accentuate what Connor and Christian are doing. No disrespect to you guys, because there's a lot of experimental, just instrumental bands that are out there that are just absolute fucking savages when it comes to the instrumental game. But add on a vocalist who can fit and even take it to another level. I'm sorry, you're talking about really good success, and then all of a sudden you guys are innovators and everyone's trying to be the next Pathogen, the next Dead Vectors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's hard, man. It's just really hard. Like Kenny just kind of fell out of nowhere. It's funny, he lived like right across the street from me, and I didn't even think about him being in my band.
That's,
you know, because like I didn't know him like that at the time.
We all went to high school together too. I remember seeing these kids in the hallways all the time.
And that's crazy.
I'm the youngest one here, dude. Kenny's like 24, Christian's 23, I'm 22.
Yeah, like that's crazy to me. You guys were so close together, and yet you guys were just like, I don't know, that guy's kind of cool, but
exactly. That's really how it was, dude. I knew who Kenny was. I used to watch his Vines. It's so funny.
I did not know that you used to watch my Vines. That's hilarious.
Of course I did, dude. I saw every single one that you posted.
Oh man, dude. But
I was like that's like way before anyone's time. That was way before even Pathogen.
Since we're talking about people's social media, I gotta single out Christian, because I showed my wife a picture, man, and she thought it was the cutest thing in the world.
The penguin?
Yes, explain the kissing penguin. How did that even happen?
I was thinking it was a birthday or Christmas or something. My parents got me and my little sister tickets to like go to the zoo or something. I was like, this is odd. Like, why are you getting us? Like, I wasn't
the zoo.
I was grateful. I was like, cool, but why are we going to the zoo? That's random as fuck. So we get there, we go into this exhibit, and we walk to the back room. I guess my parents found some tickets to meet penguins. They know I love penguins.
Oh, really?
So me and my went back, and we like met like 15 of all the different penguins. They all had different personalities. They were fucking adorable. I love those motherfuckers. But and I guess they loved my beard, and they did this thing called preening. So they were cleaning my beard.
Oh.
It was wild.
That's got to be cool though. Like, I mean, I gators, because I was in Florida for 12 years. So like the alligator farm, you can actually, like, you know, if you talk to somebody and, you know, you pay the price, you can actually get in there and talk with the gator. And I have this video from when my son was like 6 years old, where one of the trainers got the gator to go right up to the glass so that my son could see him. And man, just the excitement from, as you can imagine, a 6-year-old can get excited about that kind of thing, you know. So I was just like, oh man, look at this picture with the penguin, man, that's cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, it is. And then that's in like, so like, and I can kind of tell like with you guys, like you guys flow together and you guys seem to be like, and it's cool to me that you guys' relationship kind of like started because of someone outside of where you guys live, and then you guys are connected together. That's such a cool, and you know, kind of random thing to happen, but that's awesome.
I just want to add, when they brought me into Pathogen, we never even hung out in person yet. They just knew who I was and heard me, and they liked my stuff, so they brought me in.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to hang out with them for like maybe a week. And since Connor lives really like across the street from me, one day he decided to come over and we were going to work on some music stuff. And I was nervous because like I knew who Connor was. Like I remember him in like high school. He used to be so short and he literally was always wearing a Periphery t-shirt.
Oh, you know it, baby.
You know it, baby.
Yeah, this guy comes over and I hadn't seen him in like years, and he's this tall motherfucker, and he walks right in and he's just like the nicest guy. He's like, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, it's so nice to meet you." He just goes off and he just never stopped talking. I was like, wow, I think I can be in this band. I think I can do this. They're nice. That's cool.
It's like I'm too nice, it hurts sometimes.
We were just at Target yesterday and we were buying a video game, and this guy came up. He's like, "Oh, yo, dude, what's up?" And he's like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" And I was like, "Oh, do you know that guy?" He's like, "No, that's just how I talk to everyone." I was like, "What?"
Yeah, the dude was coming over to help us, man.
Yeah,
he came over, and I was like, "Yo, like, how are you?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm good." I was like, like, we're just trying to, like, this game. I got Doom, Kenny got Doom, and we had to get him out of the game. So, like, when he came over and helped me, I was like, "Oh, if you're gonna help me, I'm gonna be nice to you."
Hey,
you
man.
know.
I mean, you got to treat everybody, and to be honest with you, especially with what you guys do, that type of personality can get you a long way because people are going to respect you more as just being nice, general dudes that are just going to be like, "Hey, man, this dude's cool." I remember when I was in a band, me and my drummer used to go out into the crowd, and we would just be weird and be like, "Yo, are you ready for the Jackson 5 tonight, man?" And just like kind of like play off of that, and just kind of everyone talking, and it just starts up a conversation with people, especially people who are waiting in line, to just kind of open yourself to having a conversation with somebody. And then in turn, even though they may not have come to see you and you may be the opening band, they're like, "Yo, that band, was really nice to me. I'm going to follow those guys," or whatever the case is. And it seems like you guys have cool personalities that just kind of vibe well together. And hey, Connor, keep that shit up, man, because that might get you a really long way, and just being a good guy, Yeah,
I mean, really what it stems from is, like, if you feel loose and you make someone else feel loose, It's like that charisma. Like, people they really open up. I see a lot of people open up like that. Like, I'll talk to somebody and I'll just be open, and I can just see their guard just go away, and then they start to talk to me, and I'm like, all right, like, why can't everyone just be loose? You know what I mean?
That's funny because my wife just says I talk way too much as it is. So it seems like me and Connor would be the best of friends.
Oh, yeah, dude, absolutely. As long as you talk and keep it up, we're going to be fun.
Dude, all of us will become the new squad.
Exactly, man. No, and for real, like, it just, it's cool to have, we live in this day and age where everyone, and this is going to sound bad, everyone has this online persona where they're like, "Hey, I got to be edgy. Hey, I got to be cool. Hey, I got to be this," or whatever the case is. And for some people, it works out for them. But for other people, it just makes you come off narcissistic and like a douchebag. And then when you're like, yeah, exactly. Like when you're just trying to show that you're like actually care about like people listening to your music, it's hard for someone to believe you because they see your online video or they see how you're acting in person. It's kind of rude, Dude,
that's the way to be, though. You got to be nice to everyone and just like talk as if like you have been like good long friends. Mm-hmm. That's how I am, especially with like DeadVectors. I get like so many messages from like random people that just like have a question or just like want to talk, and I end up just having full blown conversations with people through the DeadVectors page. I've made at least like 10 actually close friends and made connections with like new bands that I'm doing guest vocals on or having them do guest vocals on our stuff. Like I've made a ton of like really good friends just from being nice to people that like I just happened to like connect with online.
No, and that's you were very nice to me when I reached out to you, and I appreciated you sharing Aaron's episode, and and I appreciate anybody who's willing to share that, man, because it's this is for me, podcasting was a transition because I'd been doing music since I was 16 years old, and now I'm a father, I'm a husband, I work full time, and music isn't kind of ideal. especially the music that I want to do, because there's, unfortunately, for some reason in the New England area, it doesn't seem like a lot of people want to do melodic metalcore or, you know, something in that vein, which is why I actually work with a guy Aaron kind of has been mentoring, Brandon Cooper, out of Connecticut, and me and him have been friends for the last almost 2 years, and one of those things where it, like, just for you guys, it seems like you guys have a strong connection. It's that same way, but I just only have it with one person, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to music, and we can kind of write together. But, you know, with that being said, you know, you guys do something that's a little bit more abstract. How do you feel like, and Kenny, you know, DeadVectors, a lot of people seem to be really into, but how do you guys feel the response for Pathogen is? Because you guys do something that is a little bit different, and in some circles, certain people would be like, well, yes, they're very talented and they do what they do, but that's not what you would call popular music. You know what I'm saying? So how do you guys feel you guys are received with the sound?
I think we got some pretty good, I mean, based off the fact that Collective Impulse doesn't exist, you know, Dissociate was our first release, and the fact that this is our first and second single off the album, we didn't go too crazy with marketing, we didn't go too crazy doing this, and just based off of word of mouth, we got like a really good amount of great feedback. And that's the thing, I'm not looking to, or I don't think we're looking to break the game and be like the next Metallica, the next All This Burns Red. Like, you know, you gotta be copy paste for stuff like that. I'm just looking, I want people that are looking for, you know, I heard the Dally Thundering concept for the first time. That was the first time I heard an artist that really blew me away and did something different in a long time. That's what I want to be. I want someone to hear us and be like, I don't know what's going on, and I fuck with it. Like, yeah.
That's how you got me, man, for real.
Yeah.
We just want to be different, man. Like, as long as you're different and you stick out, that's how you're gonna get a fan base. Like, we don't really focus on numbers. We focus on material first. Material first, getting it out there is second. Like, that's when you worry about numbers. You know? And it's hard because, like, if you just market on Facebook Marketplace, yeah, you're gonna get views, but like not that many. You need to like do it, get people who love you, then get merch and then all that other shit, because then they're going to tell their friends about you, and then their friends are going to tell their friends. You know what I mean? And
it's a chain reaction, and everybody everybody kind of like follows suit. And to be honest with you, like I said, I think you guys definitely, you guys definitely have the talent and skill, but, you know, with everything together, I think you guys could definitely, you know, go further, because it does seem like, you guys are like very interactive with your fans and stuff like that, or with people who give you feedback. And that's also the mark of a great artist, because sometimes you'll have people who tell you, hey man, I don't really think you should do this, you should do that. But it seems like you guys would probably respond in a way that would not come off like, you know, you guys are assholes. Like, well, fuck you, dude. We're going to do whatever we want to do. You'd be like, hey man, I appreciate that feedback. You know, hey, it is what it is, you know?
100%, dude. Constructive criticism is literally what we live off of. Anytime
I would love for someone to tell me my song sucks and tell me what sucks about it. You know what I mean? I would love to get in a conversation with someone about that, but like, it hasn't happened yet.
No,
yeah, man.
Yeah, go ahead, Kenny.
We basically live off constructive criticism whenever we go to make music or do something in terms of like working towards like finishing the album. Like when I write like a new song with lyrics and stuff like that, we basically go through it line by line and discuss like how like it fits, what we kind of think of the actual wording of it, the vocabulary. Like, it's not like, oh, it totally sucks and it's awful. It's just like, how can we make it better? And like, we kind of really just puzzle piece it to make it the best it could be.
And that's the right that's that right mindset to have, that you guys are in a band together, and it's just not just Kenny writing whatever Kenny wants to write, or Connor writing, or Christian writing, or Mark. It's a unit. It's a fluid unit together.
It is that for Pathogen. DeadVectors is kind of like, I feel like, weighted 60 to 75% in my opinion, honestly, just because like me and Aaron kind of work together to have like the sound that we want to get with DeadVectors, but Pathogen is 100% everyone coming together and putting their all in.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's sick. Go ahead, Christian. It seems like you're waiting to say something. Go ahead, boss.
It's funny. I was going to say something and I already forget it. But it was on my mind.
No, I just keep seeing you. You're like,
I had to tell when I started listening to Kenny, and now it's somewhere else. So
no, it's all good, man. But
criticism. Never mind. Kenny brought it back.
Go ahead.
That's the one thing. Not that we shit on each other, but constructive criticism is key. So if anyone listening to this podcast, I want to hear why you hate us. Tell it to our face or DMs, anything. Like, exactly. I want to.
Anything you don't like, even if it's like a stupid note somewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to get that picky, just tell me why.
That's the thing. Connor he may spend a whole week writing an entire song, and when that thing comes back, I may listen to it and I'll be like, hey man, that's trash.
Yep. You'll be like, hey, that sucks. And I'm like, all right, I'll
send me something that I love and I'll edit it and I'll send it back, and he'll be like, no, and I'll send me the original right back. That's the constructive criticism's key. Like, you got to be honest. Like, that's how you get the material everyone wants.
Honesty and patience, man.
Yeah, no, it's sometimes it isn't about what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. And if you're saying it in a way that is just like, I want you to be better, I want you to be, I want this to be the best that it can possibly be, and you guys are on that same wavelength, that's, once again, that goes back to like the fluidness between all of you, that you guys feel like you guys can call each other out and say, hey, that's bullshit, man, go back and do something different with it, or hey man, that's good, but let's add this to it,
Yeah, there's been like several times working on Pathogen vocals where like I would write a full song and then we would go at it and there would be lots of stuff that we want to change. Mm-hmm. And like obviously I'd be frustrated because, I put a bunch of work in and like I want it to be the best it is. But it's gotten to the point several times where like we are very constructive with each other and they think like I'm actually like butthurt about everything. And like they come like apologizing to me. I'm like, dude, no, like we got to make this the best it could be. Yeah. Like, I understand, like, if it sucks, I want you to tell me because I don't want to put out shitty music.
Yeah, no, I remember I reached out to Kenny specifically. I was like, yo, man, like, I know we're being hard on you, but, like, we still love you. Like, you're really good, and he's just such a good vocalist. We want him to, like, when you're releasing a song, everything has to be perfect. You can't just, like, halfway do it. No, you're putting money into that.
No, for real. So, with talking with that, how are you guys handling the world's current situation, and how is it helping you guys as a band with everything that's going on? Are you guys able to record more, kind of send things back between each other? What's that like right now with the way the world is?
Do you want the real answer, or do you want like?
Hey, man, it's as real as possible, man.
Yo, honestly, a bunch of weed and a bunch of relaxation is what keeps Pathogen moving, for me at least. Just writing a bunch of songs and like, I don't know, I've written so much music with this break time, but like we haven't been able to record any of it. So there are limitations.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're keeping the drive. Like we're still talking, we're still doing stuff, but like for a while we couldn't see each other. And now just recently with our lockdowns being lifted, I'm able to see Kenny, I can see Christian, I can see Mark, we can all start practicing again. Mm-hmm. But like, you got to ease your way into it because like some of us are still in yellow phase, you know? Wow.
That's crazy because I felt like our restrictions up here in Massachusetts were kind of rough, in Connecticut, which is the next state over, but they some of them are doing some interesting things. Like I recently, a couple weeks ago, watched this band Dreamwake from New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, I know Dreamwake.
They're so amazing. Oh my god. So they played this venue. Obviously no one was there, but it was a live stream. Do you guys think you would be interested in doing something like that, like a live stream performance?
Anything.
Oh yeah, that'd be dope.
I think you guys should. Yeah.
I think if we had the recording equipment, I'll bet you we could set something up in Kenny's studio.
Yeah, I think that would be something cool for you guys to do. And to be honest with you, watching those guys play on a live stream was so it made you miss going to shows, and it made you like, man, like this might be the new way they do things now. You might show up to a venue where there's nobody there, it's just cameras.
Yeah, man.
It's funny, as you were talking about Dreamwake, I did my research like just now. I apologize if this is off topic. That Dave, whatever his name, Dave Pasek, the guitar guy, he always puts like that stuff on his Instagram. I always see like the Sentinels guy sharing him, and he is so cool. I just wanted to put that there. He's a good guitar player.
No, I like that band because they're I'm a vocalist, so I respect vocalists who have the ability. Yes, sir. I respect vocalists who have this ability. And Bob, who's the vocalist, he has this R&B voice, and then he has like a guttural hardcore scream that just it's just, oh my god, it's like if Johnny Craig could scream, which I'm sure people have their feelings about Johnny Craig, but I love Johnny Craig. But if Johnny Craig could scream, I think he would be the most complete vocalist I've ever heard.
Oh, for sure.
Who's Johnny Craig? Did you just say that?
I just said it. I know I don't know who is it.
He was the original vocalist of Dance Gavin Dance, and then was the vocalist for Slaves before he was kicked out for
I know Slaves too.
Yeah, his
I don't know either of them. I'm so sorry.
No, it's cool. I don't know. I that's weird, Christian, because I feel like Dance Gavin Dance guitar riff wise would be right up your alley, to be honest.
I love Hail the Sun.
Me too.
Yeah,
someone from Dance Gavin Dance is in there. I think it might be the guitarist.
I want to say, yeah, I believe so. They're kind of cool.
I don't know. That's Cyan Var. They do some super group, but yeah, I do like Dance Gavin Dance. They're just not my go-to.
Oh yeah, no, nothing wrong with that. Because somebody told me one time you're either into Weedle or you're not.
Yep.
I always thought they were like pop punk or something.
They're like.
It's hard to say that they're
like
pop punk. Yeah.
I was gonna say they're like, in my opinion, I think they're like post hardcore indie mix. I would have to say, and then just
the magic word indie.
Yeah,
I'm
indie
into
mix.
It.
Yeah. No, those guys like, and
into
and to me, like, I don't know, Johnny Craig has like a unique voice, but we're going off the rails over here, man. So before we get out of here, man, like I said, with everything going on in the world, what are you guys thinking about planning wise once all of this stuff becomes lifted, more shows? Obviously, it seems like you guys are working on a record already, so we're going to get that soon. Do you guys have any idea of when you think you guys might be dropping that, or, what's up with any of that?
Well,
so there's no date. There's no date.
Supposed to be out already, kind of, except COVID and delays. So we never announced it officially, so it just kind of let us put it off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
All the songs are done instrumentally, recording wise. Just knocking out some vocals, and we're gonna make that announcement and drop that, surprise a few people. But we've been pretty what's the word? A little hiatus. Been quiet in our little corner.
Yeah, but we've been also kind of working at the same time, both Pathogen and DeadVectors. We're working on finishing recording vocals for the Pathogen album, but in the meantime, since we've been so bored because of COVID, we already started working on the next release, which will be most likely like an EP or something. But we have a ton of songs that we've already really put a ton of thought into and whatnot. And the same with DeadVectors. COVID actually kind of super screwed with DeadVectors in terms of releases, because we wrote what will be the next release in January, and we were supposed to do vocals very soon afterwards, but it got completely cut off by the quarantine and everything. So I have still yet to do vocals on the 2 songs that have been finished for months. So as soon as that lifts up, I'll be able to record DeadVector stuff and release that. But since also we've been in quarantine and not doing anything, we already started working on the release after that for DeadVectors, which will be a full album, which is daunting but fucking exciting.
Wow.
It's going to be hype.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, go ahead, Connor.
No, I'm just saying oh yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. So I just want to say thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate you guys, coming on, and I hope once all of this stuff goes back to normal, hopefully, or whatever they're calling the new normal, we can get some more Pathogens, DeadVectors. But real quick, before we go, I want to plug those social medias, man, so people know where to find you guys. where to worship you guys at. So I've got here for Pathogen, we've got pathogen.bandzoogle.com for you guys.
Yeah, you can do that. You could do that.
Yep. And then I've got Facebook, Pathogen PA, right? And then Instagram, Pathogen_US. Yep. And then for DeadVectors, Instagram and Facebook, it's just DeadVectors, right, Kenny?
Boom. All
right, man. So, like I said, man, I appreciate you guys coming on, man. And we will be watching you guys, man. And we're going to support you guys, man, because I love the energy from all of you. Maybe next time we'll have Mark, and maybe next time we'll do it in person.
Yeah.
That'd be tight.
Yeah, buddy. So,
I appreciate you interviewing us and stuff.
No, it's awesome, man. Like I said, I love the energy. I love the positivity and the fluidness of all you guys. But like I said, thank you guys for coming on, man. And check these guys out. DeadVectors, Pathogens. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, man.
Thank you for having us.
Yep.